You've noticed your legs get tired in the standing position when you're sparring or even competing. You've noticed that trying to shoot takedowns is exhausting, trying to maneuver to the back is exhausting, and your tired legs cause the rest of your body to feel much worse, especially when you're competing or sparring. This used to happen to me until I fixed this problem. I'm going to show you 4 exercises with tips and techniques to help improve and possibly fix this issue for you altogether. Let's jump in. Now, this is really going to come down to your style of how you start a grappling match. I've been able to observe, at least for the most part, 3 different types of grapplers when it comes to jiu-jitsu. Person A starts off relatively quickly onto their butt. Person B starts in a standing position, never really bending at the knees, normally trying to bait people into takedowns so they can underhook into a straight arm lock or even a Kimura. And last but not least, person C, who likes to start off in a wrestler stance. Normally, this is someone who's coming from a wrestling background. The main difference from A and B to C is that A and B don't use a lot of leg strength or stamina here. Person A sits straight to his butt and person B stands straight up, where person C is going to be engaging their quads a lot more because their legs are bent the whole time, at least when they're in the standing or neutral position. Now, it doesn't matter what style of grappling you fall into because all of these exercises I'm going to show you are going to be beneficial for your jiu-jitsu game. But the person with the wrestler stance is really going to see vast improvements here, especially with someone who wants to shoot takedowns. They want to be active and agile and powerful on their feet. These exercises I'm going to show you are something I picked up from my first wrestling coach, and not only did they help me improve my leg stamina and my leg strength, but because I had these attributes, I was more confident in shooting takedowns. I wasn't gassing out mid-match or even towards the end of the match. My legs stayed strong the entire way through, and this has greatly helped me in my jiu-jitsu journey. My goal with this video is to help you in the same way, and I think it's really important to remember that you don't need a 400-pound, a 500-pound, or a 600-pound squat to be good on your feet. You just need to be strong enough to move your weight times 2 efficiently. So if you are someone who experiences early leg fatigue in your matches, you're probably doing one of 2 things incorrectly. You're either A, not training your legs, or B, you're training your legs incorrectly. So without further gun bumping, let's jump into it. Exercise number 1, deep hack squats. Now, keep in mind, you can do things like deep squats, but these are exercises I like to use for myself. You got to remember that I do have a fused spine, and I don't like to go too crazy with the squats because it puts a lot of stress on the fusion. So if I want to train for the rest of my life and I want to be athletic for as long as possible, I have to train smart. So I use deep hack squats. Of course, you can use squats if that's what you prefer. With that being said, I like deep hack squats because it's a bit easier to play it safe. Plus, it's easier to place more of the load on the balls of your feet or the front of your feet as compared to maybe full displacement across your entire foot. You have to remember that when we fight, unless you're someone that stands straight up, you're not standing flat-footed. You're standing on the balls of your feet for the most part. You could even have a 70-30 split where you have 70% of the weight on the balls of your feet and 30% on your heels. You're probably not standing on your tippy toes the entire time. So if you are standing flat-footed while assuming a wrestler stance, this is something that you can correct right now. Stand more on the ball of your foot rather than flat-footed. This will not only make it easier for you to sprawl, but you're gonna be more springy, you're gonna be more light on your feet when it comes to having that match. When we're standing flat-footed in our matches, we're removing the ankle joint from the equation, which makes us a little bit slower, a little less spring-loaded. We want to be light on our feet, and in order to do that, we need to put more of the weight on the balls of our feet, keeping our heels a little bit lighter. And if you aren't training your legs correctly, this can be a bit exhausting. This is going to put a lot of focus on your quads, and if your quads aren't developed, you're gonna feel it in your matches. So as you can see here, I'm doing deep hack squats. I have my feet about an inch or 2 more forward than I normally would, and I'm focusing on putting most of the pressure on the balls of my feet. I think from a lifter perspective, most of us try to press off our heels to help activate our glutes, which makes sense and is the correct way to do this. For those of us who are lifters and grapplers, if you're noticing that you're experiencing early leg fatigue in your matches, that's because we have not built up that muscle maturity, that stamina, that strength in our quads yet. And this is especially evident for those of us who are just grapplers and don't really ever lift or only lift occasionally. We're either not training our legs at all or we're not using the proper range of motion and the proper foot placement when we're doing our leg workouts. So as I'm completing this set with the deep hack squats, I am placing more focus on the balls or the front of my feet, which will in turn activate my quads a little bit more. If you're standing in a way where we're pressing off our heels, that's causing more glute activation. And while strong glutes, powerful glutes, have its application to jiu-jitsu and other combat sports, If you notice that your legs are growing tired early on in a wrestler stance position, this is because your quads need more love. And that's exactly why we're focusing on pressing off the balls of our feet. Also keep in mind that I'm saying deep hack squats here. I can't stress enough that 6-inch reps or partial reps are not doing what you think they're gonna do for you. You need that full range of motion. Many times, especially when shooting takedowns, our legs could be bent as much as 90 degrees. And if you don't have strength and stamina built up within that range of motion, you shooting takedowns can tire out your legs. And because your legs are some of the bigger muscles in your body, those require more blood and more oxygen. And if your legs get tired, it can really make the rest of you feel tired as well. I'm going to recommend that when you're doing any kind of a leg workout, film yourself at least a few times so that you can make sure you're not cheating yourself. Sometimes it feels like we're using the full range of motion when we're actually not. You don't want to cheat yourself here. This is a beautiful thing, having strong legs that last throughout the entire match, whether that's sparring or in competition. Using deep hack squats at full range of motion, pressing off the balls of your feet is a game changer. And remember, you don't need to have 600, 700, 800 pounds on the hack squats to be effective with this. We need to put our pride aside. If you got to use one plate, if you got to use 2 plates per side, I don't care. It doesn't matter. No one else cares in the gym. Don't let your pride prevent you from seeing the results you deserve and can achieve. Once you start using the appropriate weight, you can start using the appropriate range of motion, that deep range of motion, the range of motion that you will use and need when you're fighting. So you can start adding this one to your leg day to see the results you need. I would start with 3 sets of 12 to 20 reps, depending on what your goal is. To find the correct weight, I want you to use a weight that challenges you for your last rep. So whether that's your 12th rep or your 20th rep, I want that last rep to be a complete war. I want you to be able to use full range of motion the entire time, but that last rep needs to be an absolute battle. And once you find that sweet spot, you run with it. And I just want to take a second to give a quick shout out to my sponsor, X Martial. X Martial is a growing combat sport brand that's dedicated to supporting the jiu-jitsu community by sponsoring kids, athletes, and creators like myself. They produce high quality gis, no-gis, spats, and even streetwear, everything you need to take your training to the next level. So whether you're cracking, slapping, tapping, or napping, you can look as good as me and probably even better by picking yourself up some high quality gear from X Martial. If you'd like to support me and my channel, you can click on the link in the description, use my discount code IRONWILL to save yourself some money, and go ahead and grab some high quality fun jiu-jitsu gear. All right, that's enough gum bumping. Let's get back to the video. Next up, number 2, deep leg press. Now, the same concepts of the hack squat still apply here. I want you using full range of motion, deep range of motion, pressing off the balls of your feet. I can't stress enough to do not be afraid to lower the weight so that you can do this. You do not need to leg press 1,000 pounds to be a good fighter, to be efficient on your feet. Remember, you only need to be strong enough to handle your weight plus the weight of someone else. So unless you're fighting an 800-pound gorilla, you really don't need to worry about squatting or pressing or hack squatting 1,000 pounds. The leg press is a place where we see partial reps all the time. I can't tell you how often I see people on the leg press doing little 6-inch reps. This small rep range is something that I think most of us are guilty of, including myself. So I'm not knocking anyone. Sometimes we don't even realize that we're doing partial reps. We think we're doing the full thing. And that's why I say film yourself to make sure you're doing it right. It's totally worth the extra 10 seconds it's gonna take to set your camera phone up against your water bottle to film your set. As you can see here, my feet are spread just slightly wider than shoulder width so that when my knees come down to my chest, they're not making contact with my pecs. They're coming off to the side, allowing me a deeper range of motion. Again, if you're not getting that muscle maturity throughout the full range of motion, you will experience early onset fatigue when you're starting in a standing position, especially if you're someone who takes a wrestler stance. Again, I'd recommend 3 sets of 12 to 20 reps, with your last rep, whether that's the 12th or the 20th rep, being extremely challenging. And that's the whole point. The battles you fight in the weight room and the training room set you up for more success when you're fighting the battles on the mats in competition. Next up, jumping lunges. Now we can do these with weight or without weight. I'm going to show you both. Either way, the main focus here is to be explosive on the jump and to be controlled on the landing. I know from the video this looks a bit fluid, but I am focusing on being explosive on the jump. And although I'm not focusing on jumping as high as I possibly can here, I am focusing on being quick. For this, I'm trying to stay as low to the ground as possible. I'm trying to stay as fast and as quick as possible. This helps simulate takedown movements, and I feel very confident and quick when I practice this way. I really love jumping lunges because it focuses a lot of our weight onto the ball of our foot. Just in the nature of jumping and landing, you're jumping with the ball of your foot and you're landing with the ball of your foot. If you're jumping flat-footed, and landing flat-footed, it's not effective. It feels clunky and slow. Now, if possible, I like to do these in front of a punching bag or even a wall to simulate my opponent being in front of me. I like to reach out and either touch my opponent as I'm setting up my shots, or I'll even switch it up and touch the ground as I'm landing. I like to keep my hands active because this is how I grapple. I don't just jump around and keep my hands at my side. I keep my hands in the game. I like to grip fight. I like to tap the forehead as a setup before I shoot a double leg. I'm not stationary with my hands, and I want to train how I fight, so I keep my hands moving the entire time. And if you want to step the intensity up a little bit, you can grab yourself a couple 10-pound dumbbells, 15-pound dumbbells, whatever it is that you feel comfortable with. It doesn't need to be super heavy here. Remember, we're not trying to push or move big weight. We're just trying to be a little bit more explosive. Just by adding in as little as 10 pounds of weight per hand is going to make you feel a little bit more lighter on your feet and a little bit more efficient when you're sparring without any weight. And because range of motion is a priority here, in order to get that full range of motion, we're making sure that our knee is slightly touching or kissing the ground at the bottom of each rep. That's a great mental landmark that you can pay attention to make sure you're getting the full range of motion. For these, I'd obviously throw these on a leg day, and I'd be sticking to 3 sets of 20 reps. And keep in mind, that's 20 reps per foot. Do they suck? Yeah, they suck, but they're gonna help improve your performance on the mats, and that's priority number 1. Last but not least, number 4, jumping rope. And I know immediately my strikers are gonna know the value here. You often see boxers using this and implementing this into their training regimen, and there's a very good reason for that. Not only is this great for overall cardio and shoulder stamina, it's really good for lower leg stamina and explosiveness. The kind of strength and stamina you're gonna build from jump rope is gonna make you feel more comfortable placing the majority of the weight on the balls of your feet, thus giving you better ability to change direction, jump up, hop back, sidestep, or shoot takedowns. Whatever it is you're looking to do, jump rope is going to help you tremendously. If you're looking to improve your stand-up game, I think that jump rope needs to be in your regimen. To keep this from being boring, I avoid just jumping off 2 feet simultaneously. Once I get bored with that, I'll switch to a skipping pattern, then I'll switch to single leg jumping, and even after that, I'll alternate legs once one leg starts to get tired. For me, these patterns are all I really need to keep it interesting. I could run this cycle over and over again until I complete the 10 to 20 minutes of jump rope I'm doing at the very end of my leg workout. If I could make a recommendation, it would be to use a weighted jump rope. You can find so many of these on Amazon. Not only is it going to give you a better shoulder workout, it's going to step up the notch when it comes to your cardio when you jump rope. And if you feel that you're someone who struggles with jump roping, just be patient with yourself. You're probably a white belt jump roper, which means you shouldn't expect yourself to be professional level yet. Just go slow, go at your own pace, be patient yourself when you make mistakes, and as long as you stay consistent with it, you will get better. The results that you get from jump roping are going to be completely worth it, and I think you'll thank me for it. I'm confident that if you do these exercises on your leg days consistently for 2 to 3 months, you will see great progress from this. The strength and stamina that you'll gain in your upper legs combined with the explosiveness and stamina in your lower legs is a game changer, especially those of us who like to participate in grappling arts, especially those of us who have a wrestling background and want to start in a wrestler's stance, and especially for those of us who experience early onset fatigue in our matches, whether that's sparring or competing. And with that being said, that's the end of the video, guys. I hope you got something out of it. Keep in mind, we do have more athlete recipes, fitness, and jiu-jitsu content on the way. I see that you guys are really liking the strength building and the workout content for jiu-jitsu, so I have more of that on the way. And comment below what your favorite leg exercises are. If you've seen solid gains in your jiu-jitsu performance from a certain leg exercise, let's share it with the group. We can all grow from that, all right? This is what works for me, but what works for me might not work for you. You might have found great success in doing other things. Remember, we're growing a community here where we're all helping each other, so I always appreciate you guys dropping your knowledge in the comments. And with that, you know how we like to end them. Eat plants, train hard, and feel good. I'll see you in the next one. I'm being serious though. Stop wasting your time on those partial reps on the leg press and the hack squats and even regular squats or any leg exercise. Go that full depth. I need you going full depth, all right? You know what I'm talking about when I say go deep, all right? Go deep, all right? Quit wasting your time. We go deep around here, okay?